That's right, you read it correctly. F100 is coming to the British Kart Championships for the ICA and Super Libre O-Plate at no other than Paul Fletcher International. So it's been a long-term ambition of mine since I started karting to race on a British Championship weekend, albeit as a support race. But that said, it's our first season, and after our last outing we got a lot of work to do. As you know, if you followed the last video, we absolutely decimated a Pirelli TT75 that was destined for the scrap heap, but thankfully the magician that is Matt Dobson at DP Race Engines brought it back to life. But it's not just the engines that require preparation. This is my 3-jet IBA L2 butterfly carburetor, and you can see that by the split shaft in the middle. It has 3 jets. There's a power jet on the outside here, and then nearest the driver you have a low and high speed jet that control the fuel mixture either side of the butterfly shaft. So you'll see me here testing the pop off, or the pressure that the carb pops off at and the pressure it holds, and fitting that onto the other motor. I also acquired another motor from the home of premium racing equipment, that is Facebook Marketplace. So another TT75 to add to the collection. Last time out we were kindly donated a black nose cone to match our bodywork from Liam Hamlin, so thank you very much for that, mate. I still owe you a beer. So I gave it a bit of a clean up and re-drilled some holes to fit our sort of bodged clamps. No drop nose cone nonsense here. Threadlock is your friend when working on 100cc direct drive karts, as they love to rattle themselves to bits, but with the finishing touches we're almost ready to run in our newly rebuilt engines, and without my trusty trailer I had to use my granddad's F. So this is what you can get in the back of a Ford S-Max if you put your mind to it. Got a complete chassis, front wheels on, pods off, just the side pods, motor on, got a table, awning, wets, sprays, wheels, spares, wet box, boxes of flex, got a whole trolley under that. Come around the side, got a 20 litre jerry can for sprockets, you can see the trolleys there. Come around here, we've got my rucksack with all my electronics, micro batteries, things like that, toolbox, more tools. And in here is my second motor. Not bad, not bad. So after a game of Tetris, it was time to head to a track I'd never actually visited before, despite living an hour away, at Blackbush, or Camberley Kart Club. Don't actually have that much footage from the day because I was just running in a motor, but with a bit of help from Richard Plummer and my good friend Miles, who got absolutely stuck in with the push starts and helping on the spanners, so massive thank you to him. But yeah, we ran in one of our 2 freshly rebuilt engines, and as you can tell from this time lapse, we had about 7 seasons in a day, as this is early September. But unfortunately our day rather got cut short, as you see me here changing engines over. But unfortunately our day rather got cut short as the second engine didn't want to fire, and got that back home and diagnosed it with a faulty ignition. As you can see, when you turn the engine over at speed, the coil and the spark plug does not spark. Thankfully we would have a Friday at PF to run the engine in, but apart from that we were all set. So I just picked up the van. Oh, start button's up here. I've been looking around for ages and it's up here. So when Enterprise gave me the keys to a Transit Custom with a wet belt, it rather set an ominous tone for the rest of the weekend. But still, got her all loaded up and fit like a glove. So having set off about 3-4 o'clock in the morning, we arrived at PF bright and early on Friday, ready to get the car all set up, ready for the running in sessions later that afternoon. Now I'd like to apologise first of all for the lack of onboard footage from this weekend. Unfortunately the permit for onboard filming was only in place on the Friday, and of course I was just running motors in, so naturally I didn't record anything. So once I got set up I started mixing up some fuel and just wanted to show you the humongous amount of oil that these engines consume compared to the road taxes. But yeah, started watching trackside, getting a few pointers ahead of FP1 later that afternoon. And yeah, ran in the other engine successfully and completed scrutineering. So for Saturday, thankfully, I'd have my good friend Jono on the spanners, And you can see he looks absolutely delighted. Myself and Jono go way back to rental karting, and he's actually the reason I got into owner driver racing in the first place. So we raced Rotax with each other for a number of years. But yeah, with the kart all set, ready to go, we were looking to turn our first laps in anger, and unfortunately, we didn't get very far. So during the last session on Friday, I noticed that my chain had gone rather slack as I came into the pits. Now, at the time, I put that down to just one of those things on these karts, as they do like to shake themselves to bits. But when we went out on Saturday, I found that the chain was going slack within about a lap. And it would happen again, and again, and again. You know what? It would have been a good idea sometimes to just stay at home, watch this on YouTube instead of being in it. Far less stressful, far less expensive. But we wouldn't have had this experience. It's all about the experience. Still, could be worse.
Higgins has his opportunity to take the lead of the race and does so. The Welshman is under a lot of pressure, and Perini retakes the lead.
The rain returns on slick tyres. Who wants to be the leader? Nobody seems to want it at the moment. Every time someone gets to top spot, they fall off. Just like that. Perilli now out of contention with...
Got a rain suit.
So having had a 3-hour gap since the last practice session, it was sod's law that the heavens would open about 7 minutes before we would go out on track for time qualifying. And it was a frenzy to say the least, but thankfully myself and Jono managed to get back out there. The problem with the chain did persist, and after showing initial progress running inside the top 10, we rather got held up by Stuart Guest on the last lap, and the timing of the checkered flag meant that everyone else, as you can see, was still on a lap and hadn't actually taken the flag yet. So with an ever-revolving track, we would fall further down the order to about P14 in the end, which you'll see in a moment actually wasn't too bad considering the cause of our problems. So as you can see, there's quite a dramatic crack and twist in the frame there that when the kart was loaded would shift the engine and the chain, so that was why it was going loose and why we had such horrific balance problems. A day to forget. It would be another early start for Sunday, but miraculously we would be racing thanks to the incredible work of Alex Spinks. I am massively grateful for the job he did welding up my right for a very fair price. So huge thank you to him. Go check out his channel for some cool retro kart projects. But yeah, we still had a lot of work to do to be able to get the kart ready for the warm-up, let alone the first heat. And as I've said before in previous videos, one of the issues with these historic karts is finding parts. And we were missing a brake pad bolt, and that would mean we would also miss the warm-up session. It is Sunday morning and we're off to another track. We're off to Fullbeck to find one of these little puppies. I think someone might have this little spring that we're looking for. No one else has it in any of their brake calipers, but yeah, it fell out in the damage. So we're just going down the road to Fullbeck kart track, which you can actually see over there. It's literally right next to PFI if you've never been there. So yeah, we're going to see if someone can get us out of trouble. Kart's all built up, so make some moves in heat one. Due to time constraints, we weren't able to find a perfect solution, but we would make the grid for the first heat of the day. We had to drill a brake pad out a bit so we could fit a bigger bolt through there, but it would mean that the brakes were binding ever so slightly, so one of the pads would move more on the other side. Not ideal, but we're going straight into this first heat here, rolling off, I believe, P14 with absolutely no dry laps running in anger. I've only been to this, I've never actually raced at this circuit at all, I might add. I did have a couple of plays around here in a Rotax about 5 years ago. If you're an OG on this channel, you'll remember that, but it was nothing representative. So going on a voyage of discovery here, just here to have some fun. We're going to get stuck in. We tend to find our feet quite well in the races, make good starts. It's been one of our strengths. So yeah, eyes forward, looking forward to this one. Massive thank you to Jono for rebuilding the entire kart after what we thought, or what he probably thought would be a nice easy weekend, a bit of fun. Ended up being one of the most stressful weekends in all the karting, but let's not think about that now as we take the start for the first heat here in F100. of course, I should add we are running in the ICA category for the reed valve engines, and we make it through this first complex relatively cleanly. So you'll see the white plates there are the ICA carts, and the yellows are the Super Libre, so the rotary valve engines, both running on the same grid. The reeds would have been restricted back in the day, but yeah, they're all open as we see Stan Warner there. Not best pleased. But we've made it through with a relatively okay start. Nothing super dramatic, but we're picking off a couple of spots here. And as you can see there, I'm reaching down to adjust the jets. I have absolutely no idea what I should be running, because we haven't had time to dial the engine in. So I'm still running a very similar mixture to what I would be when I was running in, which was on the richer side, obviously, to help lubricate and protect the engine. There's Tyler Weed in there chucking a chain, and not entirely sure what the thought process was behind that angle, but that's another kart we don't have to pass, as we're going to get eyed up, I think, by Richard Faulkner there. Not going to fight that one too hard, but we're in a good place at this point. We're inside the top 10. We're following a train of some of the quicker drivers, so we can pick up a few things. There's Matt Dobson taking a nibble behind us there, and he's in the FSA class, so he's going to have some waft on this straight, but not able to beat us on the brakes into a hairpin. When have I said that before? But yeah, as the race progresses, Rob Hall's there, slightly losing touch from the pack ahead and Paul Warner, and he's becoming a bit of a cork in the bottle there. I think he's struggling with grip rolling, especially into this complex here in the final sector, the Mike Wilson complex, and he's going to run wide. That's going to be another position for us. So already here, despite having absolutely no idea where the limit is around this circuit, we've found ourselves up in a pretty respectable, I would say, P8. But another thing that's worth mentioning is we are running our pre-95 kit, so the Perilla TT75 engines. Now, for this event, there's no pre-95, pre-2K, as is the norm in F100. It's divided by sort of engine, so reed or rotary valve, which is a little bit different. But we were told in the build-up to this event that the pre-95, the older reed engines would struggle. We wouldn't be competitive without the front hubs. I basically didn't really care, so I just thought, well, I'm going to drive the wheels off what I've got. I'm not going to buy a Vortex VR98 or another chassis or what have you for a one-off event. So hopefully doing this right kart proud. Obviously we're on a 1994 right Braga. But Rob Halls, with that grunt on the straight, was able to get back past us. But still, try and stick with him. And there's Andrew Brunton going for his signature C's the day under the bridge. That's another kart we don't have to pass. And we're making a break now, pulling a bit of distance between ourselves and Matt Dobson as Bowen Kent goes up the inside. But yeah, this is looking really good for us. We're now in P7 as Stuart Guess having a scary moment down at hairpin 1. Can't park there, mate. But Paul Warner would soon fall by the wayside as well, and that would elevate us up into a fantastic P6 with just 3.5 minutes on the clock. And at this point, it was finally looking as though our fortunes were on the up. We'd had the bad luck, we'd had the lack of running on the Saturday, and despite that, we were looking competitive. As we see Aurelio there do Aurelio things. Good effort. But just when things are on the up.
Out on circuit, 58.47. Down the inside from Jiggins. How about that? To take second place out of the race. That's not gone well for the number 37. That was Will Barnes. Will Barnes was up in the top 5, top 6, and now falls down the order.
So unfortunately that would be a DNF for ourselves after showing such promise in the early stages of that race. So we would be classed 13th, thankfully, as these are races of attrition. We were flying up into that 6th, and These were buzz gunned on tight. I think it's because the track is so insanely grippy.
Welcome back, everybody, to PFI.
So with some new studs in the hub, it was time for heat number 2. Again, starting in our qualifying position of 14th alongside Bowen Kent. And yeah, just looking for to build on the pace we had in the first heat. Now we have some idea of where to go. And yeah, just trying to get a sensible position for the final. As immediately we get past Bowen Kent on the start. And then just try and get to the inside line. See if we can pick up a few positions into the bolt. No heroics as such. As we see, I think that's Faulkner going around the outside of us. But yeah, not a super eventful start, but a clean start importantly. As we get past Matt Dobson into hairpin 2. And just managed to fend him off. Now, through this infield complex, I'd say we were quite good, especially through the hairpins. The Pirelli T75 actually had quite a good release off the hairpins. But it's on the straights where I'd have to watch my back to these FSA carts.
Good news as they come round to complete the first lap then, to say we're going to go a little bit quiet in a second. This is what 21,000 RPM sounds like.
You can see in the background of the shot there, Matt Dobson looking to get past us into the Bruno Ferrari S's. And this, as he's skipping a bit further into the race now, we've managed to get shuffled back. I can't actually remember how, but I do believe we just got a bit stuck behind Matt Dobson as he was able to draft back past us on the straights. But thankfully, though, we've caught back onto this train. We've got a 5-way battle now with Matt, Nino, Bowen, and Cliff, and myself, obviously. But closing up onto the back of Cliff McDonald now. We're going to go EIEIO down the inside. The old tap on the helmet. Now Bowen is going to go for a move on Nino into the S's, and that's beautiful for us as he almost grip rolls. But we're right onto his bumper. That's brought us back into play now. Showing good pace at this point. This is, I think, where I set my fastest lap of the weekend. So despite the tyres wearing off a bit, losing that peak performance, we were still showing good pace. As Nino there, a bit of a sketchy sees just by the pit exit. Yeah, just showing that we are slowly finding our feet.
Officialdom have been receiving cake this year. Done all of the KZ2 races with us. Oh, that's a nice move down the inside. Will Barnes, that's proper Will Barnes stuff. Very experienced racer is Will, and that's him through past Bowen Kent for 11th place.
If they're trying to hold his exhaust on for dear life by his hand, what a man. But yeah, we actually had a really fantastic battle with Matt Dobson and Bowen Kent towards the end there. Didn't actually get shown on the stream, but it would earn us a reasonable top 10, P10 finish. Nothing spectacular, but yeah, it would earn us a grid position of 12th for the O Plate final. Now, this is a voyage of discovery for myself. This is actually the longest race, longest sprint race, I should say, I've ever done in a proper kart. A 15-minute plus 1 lap final, which I was looking forward to. Physically, not an issue. I find these karts were a little bit easy to drive in the Senior Max that I'm accustomed to. However, for the engines, this is a step into the unknown. Most of us, I think we've only really ever done sort of 10, 12-minute finals. This is something else, especially around PF International, with these big straights that engines like to go pop at the end of. So yeah, it's definitely gonna be a race of attrition. We're gonna have to do a bit of race management here, unlike the Rotax where you can sort of just drive it and just monitor the engine temp periodically and open the flap. There's a lot more thinking behind this, but as you can see there, we get ready to go. Paul Warner is going to be slow away. He's got a problem, and it's going to cause a chain reaction of carnage there that we somehow managed to escape. There was a bit of contact at the start, and we did take a hit, but thankfully we seem to have emerged from that relatively okay, albeit not the best start to the race. And this was a nice touch to see Paul Warner and Aurelio restarting Stan, who was just an innocent bystander and all of that. Let's take another look at that. So off the start, Matt goes right to avoid a slow kart, tags me, who I then tag Aurelio, who eventually and unfortunately tags Stan. Just a racing incident, I think, is always going to happen as we get shown the grass out of hairpin 1. Wouldn't be the last time this race, unfortunately. But we've got through the first lap now. We're behind Matt Dobson.
We're not going to be getting Jiggins with it. And Summers up. Into the barrier. Our volume down.
So as we make our way through these first couple of laps, we're within striking distance of this train. We've got Matt Dobson just in front of us, and he's been someone we've been battling with all day long. We've generally had 0.3 to half a second in him, especially in that last race. So we need to clear him as quickly as possible, ideally. He's going to be quite quick on the straight with that FSA kit, but we go for a bold move under the bridge. Thanks to the TV directors for capturing that moment. But yeah, this is good. This is good. It's just that we're just on the fringes of the top 10, but we're staying with this train, and there's a lot of quick drivers and importantly smart drivers in this train who aren't going to do anything too silly. So we're just going to hang in there, take any moves that are presented to us. Bowen Kent now going on the defensive, and Bowen Kent, obviously we went past him in the previous race, so we know we can get past him. So this is very good for but he is rather becoming a cork in the bottle. So we need to be wise here. This might kick off in front of us, but there's still best part 12 minutes to go. As Matt Dobson very quick on the straight, we're going to have to fend him off just on the limit. I did earn a warning flag for that. In my opinion, I race hard and fair. I left him a kart's width. The British Kart Championships state that you're not allowed to defend unless it's the last lap or you've just made an overtake, but to me that's a part of racing. As you see here, I squeeze Andrew Brunson just a little bit in the braking zone, leave him a kart's width, but yeah, I don't really understand that logic, because if I'm going to make a mistake and if I'm going to be vulnerable, what do they expect me to do? Just let people past? But that's a discussion for another day perhaps, as Rob Halls and Bowen Kent are now locked in combat. Into the complex we go. Andrew Brunson now is on snapping at our heels. Andrew Brunson is obviously a very quick driver, namely because he's always running his engines solely and they go pop. But he's going to be quick with a pre-2000 engine at the end of the straight, and he does get past us into the Bruno Ferrari S's. Not to panic though, because he's an F100 champion from 2022. He's a very quick driver. I'm going to try follow him through as Rob Halls and Bowen Kent come to blows off the bridge. Don't quite know why Rob is flailing his arms around.
Kent Morris. And yeah, he's Stuart Diffie, Simon Diffie, sorry, his friend. That's why
I had a few complaints about my driving this one, but to be honest, at least I'm not piling into people, as Andrew Brunson, right on cue, loses his nose with another fantastic hairpin manoeuvre. Not the first time that's happened. As we look at a replay from earlier, Bowen just gets fired into the shadow realm. And then, frustratingly, I make that little jink to the left, that little hesitation in avoidance, as we see, just like Butmore. Lost a lot of momentum, and I lost 4 places as a result, as Andrew Brunson actually got past me into the Mike Wilson complex. He's got no nose cone, so he'll get a technical flag for that, as you would expect, but annoyingly that's going to delay us even further now. Cutting later into the race, Rob Halls gets back past us on the end of the straight, but I know he's been weak into this complex. He's been running wide and struggling at slow corners, and we do just that. We sneak on by him.
6 minutes of this race to go. Scorey, gone. Joe Scorey is out of the O-Plate final, the early event favourites. The side of the Litchfield Bridge, and another one
So as we enter the final 5 minutes now, venturing into the unknown in terms of engine life expectancy, but more and more karts are falling by the wayside. Don't know whether they're just getting excited on the jets or whatever, but we now find ourselves potentially within a shout of A-class podium. Obviously we are P6 on the road, but some of those karts ahead are the Super Libre karts, and we are in the ICA class. So Bowen Kent just in front of me now, he is P3 in class. So if we can get by him, we can get onto the podium at PF International in a British Kart Champs weekend, despite having absolutely no practice and having never raced here. Now, if you told me this at the start of the weekend, I'd have punched you and probably laughed. But no, this is a very real prospect now, as Bowen, he's been held up by Matt Dobson now, and he's finally got his way through. So now we need to strike while the iron's hot. We need to get past Matt while he's vulnerable, and he's been going wide into the bowl for a number of laps now. That's where his sort of problem area, and it's put us right into his slipstream now.
That's good stuff to see. Sue Bowen going up the road now. Now Will Barnes knows he's got to make the move pretty quickly. Goes down the inside of Dobson into hairpin 1. Nice overtake up into the top 5.
Now, Glenn Guest,
and now we've got about a minute and a half on the clock. We're going to have to cover off Matt Dobson here. Frustratingly, that is going to delay us ever so slightly, but we've got maybe 2-3 laps depending on when the leader crosses the finish line, which could be enough time if Bowen goes defensive on the last lap. We just need to put ourselves within striking range and try to put him under some pressure now, and more importantly, not allow Cliff and Matt back through as we go wide at the final corner. My butt was actually scraping on the ground here because my seat had worn through. But yeah, all to play for. I'm actually really gutted that the TV directors didn't show the final lap between myself and Bowen, because we did actually make a bid for the podium, and it did involve me getting shown the grass on the way down towards the Fullerton S's at hairpin 2, and I did just get my nose in there. I'm not sure if I was halfway up or like fully alongside, so I would have loved to have seen that again. But unfortunately, we're not going to get to see that. As you can see, we're getting very close. Bowen looking over his shoulder here and there, and he did start to back us up and get a bit defensive. But I'm afraid it was not to be in this case. As we cut now to the final lap, Richard Faulkner taking a remarkable victory with 11-12 second buffer, at least, the best part of 13-14 seconds ahead of everyone. As we now cut back to ourselves, having missed the fantastic last lap scrap, it's now put Cliff McDonald, who had a farm, back on our rear bumper, and it's going to be a drag race to the line. Are we just going to hang on for P5 overall and P4 in class? Will Barnes inside the top 5. A bit sketchy at the finish, but we just about hung on. And to be honest, I can safely say that's probably the most fun I've ever had in a kart. So even though I just missed out on a podium and a really cool trophy on the British Champs.
The drivers all gathered together at the end of the Motorsport UK O Plate. We're going to bring Noel Brennan in first. We got another draw, another draw. So this is ICA. You don't get that in Monday karting generally. At the end of a really competitive race, the drivers all gather round together, and the next winner of a set of tyres, Will Barnes. Will Barnes. The cheering is amongst everybody is good. You win a set of tyres. Oh. Well done. And
I wasn't listening anyway.
I wasn't listening. You got it.
Heated seats, optional extra. So that was that then, with P4 in class at the British Open in F100 UK in the ICA category. And a free set of tyres to boot. Not a bad weekend considering Friday and Saturday we basically didn't even really take part. So I want to say a massive thank you to Jono on the spanners, Matt Dobson, DPE Race Engines, for all his hard work getting my kit back together from the ashes at Butmore. But yeah, apologies for the delay in making this video. The final round of the year, the Rye House London Cup, that video will shortly follow, and I do have some onboard footage. Till then, have a very Merry Christmas, and I'll see you very soon. Cheers.